The NFL draft has come and gone, and not all the running backs got the draft capital that we were necessarily hoping. We originally thought there could be 10 to 12 guys that get day two or obviously day one NFL draft capital. That's the first 3 rounds. We only ended up with 8 guys. However, that pushed some value down later in the drafts, and those guys are perceived in your rookie drafts to have less value, but I think that there are still a ton of sleeper opportunity inside day three. So let's get into some running backs that I think could well outperform their ADP or just get an opportunity that we weren't maybe initially guessing from a guy that was drafted that late. Let's start off with Cam Skattebo. He just barely missed that day 3 draft capital. And of course, that's going to move him down people's boards a decent amount. Tyrone Tracy is there, but I don't view him as a huge threat. He is a good running back. He's a good pass catcher, but I think long term, they would love to have what they lost in Saquon Barkley, a guy that can be on the field for all 3 downs. That's what you get in Cam Skattebo. Yes, he's not going to turn into Saquon Barkley. Don't post in the comments below, oh, he's not going to be sick. I know he's not. But I do know that they want a guy that can do all the phases of the game, and that's what you get in Cam Skattebo. He can catch the ball really well. Some of the best contact balance that I've ever scouted. And I think if he gets his opportunity, round 4 draft capital that early still is not terrible. I think he could well outperform his current ADP, which is sitting right around the early to mid second round range. You're looking at like a 2-3 to 2-6 type of pick. I'm more than willing in a super flex tight end premium, take him around 2-1, and in a 1 QB league as early as 111. So I'm in on Cam Skattebo. I think he is still a great value. Let's move to a pass catcher here. We have Woody Marks out of USC. This player was probably, of all the ones I'm going to talk about, probably the lowest on my pre-draft board. And he still hasn't skyrocketed necessarily for me. But when a team trades up into the 4th round and they use a 3rd round draft pick next year in order to do so, that's a pretty special amount of potential draft capital there for a guy like that. So for me, I'm very interested to see how they're going to use this guy. Joe Mixon only has 1 year left on his contract. And although I don't see him as a between the tackles guy very much, the pass catching opportunity, the yards after catch are absolutely there for Woody Marks. And so he's moved up my board and definitely in that early 4th round range, late 3rd round range. I'm definitely looking at him as an upside sleeper play. We got another pass catching back here, Jaydon Blue, 5th round pick out of Texas. He's a player that I think maybe has a little bit more between the tackles than the guy we just talked about, but he's still another back that I look at mainly as a receiving option at the next level. I think he's going to be able to catch a ton of passes. I think the Cowboys severely needed another running back. We had been waiting for them to take a running back. They got 2 guys in the draft this year, him and Phil Maffa. They signed 2 guys in free agency in Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. I think you're going to see a lot of Javonte and Jaydon Blue, but Blue here has an opportunity, not just as a pass catcher, but if he can show enough on the ground. They've shown in the past, guys like Rico Dottle, guys like Tony Pollard, a little bit undersized feature backs that they're willing to give an opportunity to if they see enough electricity in their game. That might be what we have here in Jaydon Blue. Let's go to a more ground and pound type guy. We've got Ollie Gordon, 6th round pick from the Miami Dolphins. Now, a little different than the normal route that we've seen the Dolphins go. It's speed, electricity. Those are the type of guys they want. But I think last year they showed an inefficiency on the ground that they did not love. On the goal line opportunities, they did not have a big physical back to run it in. On the opportunities, short, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 type of guys, they did not have a guy for that. And I think that they want to run Devon Achane less between the tackles. So that's what you're going to get out of Ollie Gordon. Yes, maybe his ceiling isn't as high as some of these other guys, but he does have some real touchdown upside. And especially if there was an injury that were to take place, this is an electric offense where he could do some good things. Jalen Wright's still there, so it's not a perfectly beautiful, clear path. But I do think that short yardage opportunity is all for Ollie Gordon to take. Let's go back to the pass catchers. Brashard Smith. He went to the Chiefs in the 7th round, and this was a team that was just really looking for a pass catching back. Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt really aren't going to give you much of that at this point in their careers, and Pacheco never really gave you that. But Brashard Smith reckons back to the days of, when we saw the first couple Super Bowls and big runs when the offense was at its most explosive. They had a lot of pass catching running backs, and I think they want to get back to that. Brashard Smith, just a really good wide receiver, former wide receiver, in fact. So he's going to catch passes really well out of the backfield, screen game, dump offs. You can even line him up in the slot at times. So for a guy that's going all the way in the 7th round of the NFL draft, I think he is a really good pick in your 4th round range at running back. Let's go to another 7th round guy, and that is Kyle Monangai. He went to the Chicago Bears, and they didn't do anything else at the position. He's the only guy. So DeAndre Swift, huge winner. But if you look at their skill sets, they complement each other beautifully. DeAndre Swift, really good receiving back, questionable between the tackles. But when you have a guy like Monangai, that's what he does well. And remember, Ben Johnson comes from the Dan Campbell system. And what did Dan Campbell want to do? He wanted to bite off kneecaps. He wanted to scratch and claw. And that is exactly who Kyle Monangai is. He fights and claws for every additional yard. He has great contact balance, good vision, does a lot of little things really well. So while he's not going to be a huge pass catching weapon, he is the perfect complement to a DeAndre Swift in this offense. We'll have to see. There's still a couple free agents out there that could mess up any one of these guys. So we'll kind of have to wait and see how it plays out. But Kyle Monangai, for me, is just a beautiful fit for the Chicago Bears offense. Last but certainly not least, a guy that was talked about a lot pre-draft, but is seemingly being forgotten about at this point, and that's Devin Neal. Devin Neal, running back out of Kansas, he can do a little bit of everything. He's not amazing at one area, but man, he is a jack of all trades. So they took him in the 6th round, pick 8, and the Saints have been looking for a complimentary back to Alvin Kamara for years. Go back to the days of Mark Ingram. Devin Neal is actually a very similar type back to Mark Ingram. Very similar type back, can catch the ball, can run between the tackles, low center of gravity. It's just a really, really nice fit. But he also has a little more upside than that because Kamara's not the youngest pup in the litter. At this point, if something were to happen, he sustains an injury or things just really start going downhill, they need somebody else in this offense. It's a new head coach. So Devin Neal really seems like he could be their guy. And so we'll have to see, but there's still a lot of upside left with Devin Neal. That wraps up my sleepers, but I'm sure you guys have some round 4, 5, 6, 7 sleepers that you have as well. And there's other names that are still very intriguing. I love this running back class. Drop below who you are targeting in your 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds of your rookie drafts.